But it was said even by Malema, we are being led by people who are already.
They are fat, man. Their pockets are fine.
They're already fine.
They are fine.
And then
at many times where I needed technical work to be done.
Who do you
and
call?
It's always foreigners coming to do that. And there is once in a while one white person. Because the white people also, they know the technical work.
They know the technical work.
Especially the Afrikaner, most of them, they know the technical work. But they're outnumbered.
And going forward, they still want to push the same agenda, the same platform, and what they want to benefit directly from us. Allow me to say this as blacks back then. I'm not saying black people are not given the platform, but they are not given the platform because back then they were given a certain way to live in. Now they are even pushed into the system to say you are only allowed to do this and this and this.
And they're strategizing.
Exactly.
They're not just here to only do these small jobs and then they're out. They're strategizing.
Well, their small jobs is not small jobs. Allow me to say this.
I want us to talk about a few things today. We'll touch on politics. We'll touch on the climate of the new government and just how people are feeling in general. The way we, because it triggers certain things, man, when, especially for the older generation, it triggers the 1994 period, just before elections. I was not there. I was still a lighty.
Can you get it? I understand.
I was still 4 years old. I didn't know what was going on, but my brothers and maybe you were in that age also, brothers. It triggers certain memories because of the climate that it was back in 94, before elections and within the period right after the ANC won with 63% majority. I don't know how that felt, but I know the time of Mbeki when he became president, I was like 9 years, 10 years at that time. So I remember those times. So I want us to chat about the politics, how the elections went, and then we'll find out if you voted less, and also we'll chat about now after elections, going forward. What are we expecting? How are your feelings about the trajectory of the country? And also then we'll talk about some general topics, just bro to bro, man to man, general stuff. And then we also have behind the camera, we have Nick. Nick will be helping us to control and just set up our video. He just made sure he pulled out a miracle on the audio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we didn't know exactly what to do the audio, but he managed to set it up. So on the background we have Nick. How's it?
I'm ready.
Good. Yeah, man. We worked on it together. We pulled through, man. And thanks, Brales, for being patient. This is the first episode, and I told the people, and believe it or not, we have like 30 subscribers. We have about 300 people who have watched our videos already. And then this is episode 6. I've done 5 episodes by myself. So I told the people that I'm bringing a guest and he'll be coming up with his input, his opinions. So we'll talk about those few things, just the country, the climate that we are in right now. So before we waste any more time, and introduce yourself to the people, and then we take it from there.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me over. I go by the name of Leshika. My other name also known as Lesedi. Surname is Maitisa.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the tenants here, whereby I got to know Eugene.
Yeah.
So I can say we grew up to be about getting closer and closer, and then we realized that in the long process as to how some things go.
Yeah.
As men, we need to come up, be one unit, and just address some issues in terms of life as a whole. So I'm no more just the tenant, more or less. So we grew up to be quite closer.
We're like brothers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, man. Thanks for the introduction and just letting the people know who you are. And I told the people also, this is the Good Podcast with ET, and I've told the people that I'll introduce myself. Also, they don't know a lot. Only those who know me personally and are watching and listening, they know. But I'm gonna gradually introduce myself to the people. So thanks for the introduction. So next time we sit. Maybe it's in a month or 2 months or so, people will already know who you are, and then we'll just dive into the issues and talk about a lot of what is going on with men in general, like the climate of the country. It affects us mentally, also psychologically. The hustle is not easy, man. I've just realized also within the week while preparing for this episode that the fact that we are uncertain of what's going to happen. A lot of people have businesses and they're scared. And once you are a business person now, you are part of capital, the so-called capital. That's what these guys call them. So once you are a businessman, whether small or big, you are affected. You are affected by the climate. So what do you think about just how it affects me and you, and whether we are on the lower end or the higher end of participation in our economy? How does this new climate, in your opinion, how does it affect us in general?
Well, I can start by saying in terms of the niche as to where some things have personally looked into. Yeah. You can see that even in terms of how much actually we are earning as in terms of our salaries. Yeah. It affects us. Yeah. To a certain extent, whereby you can see that actually we are not even spending. We are actually giving away. Yeah. And we can't save.
Most definitely, yeah.
We most definitely cannot save. Yeah. But then we are taught in a way that you need to save for future purposes.
True.
But as to how, it is challenging very much.
Yeah, most
so we are living beyond our own means and our own needs as a whole. So you can't even meet your needs in terms of more or less how much you are earning.
Yeah. So it's true, man. I agree 100%.
In the business sense, I understand they're trying to make profit. Yeah. But then they must look into one thing. Yeah. How it affects the people directly who are living in the country. Starting with tax. Yeah. Allow me to say this, it's ridiculous.
The taxes are high, man.
It's very high. Yeah. Whereby you can even see that the people who are of the lower grade in terms of earning.
The low threshold.
The low threshold. Yeah. It's killing.
Yeah, man.
They are trying to actually push people to live in a certain standard mode and pushing directly and towards only to their own benefit.
Yeah. That's capital. That's
capital.
That's the motto of capital.
Yeah, capitalism or the capitalist system. Yeah. Of which it's pushed. Yeah. It's not directly even, how can I put it? You know, sometimes for South Africans as a whole, if we were to be given a platform, directly when changes are made, can we be informed? Yeah. Not to be just like, hello, Christmas is just here.
Yeah. Find out in the media
when everything is happening.
Is done already. Yes. Yeah. For example, like the NHI, just to cut you in the NHI, most people, they began to know about it like 30 days ago, but it's been happening for 8 years, 10 years.
You see.
Yeah. You're right, man.
Yeah. So it's affecting us directly. How already such a lot of things have been happening. So one thing that I picked up that I would say it's issues, topics, things that always happen. Yeah. We are pushed to actually enforce ourselves to be where they want us to be.
They're sort of pushing
not directing us.
Also, we in other words, we are sheep.
Yeah, we are sheep in a way. They're trying to push us to where they want us to be in. Yeah. Now, what I picked up is that we are living in a system where directly it's either you are in or you're out. But the tools are not provided.
Yeah, true. It's every man for himself.
It's like that. But then the tools are not provided as to how someone can maneuver themselves, teach themselves, educate themselves. Of course, I do understand. There are platforms whereby people can learn, but then they are not given, they are not said. More so specifically, it's a hidden information.
You have to dig.
You have to dig.
To get those platforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like every man for himself. So if you're not gonna do it for yourself, nobody will.
Yeah. No, you actually
Survival
right.
of the fittest.
You're actually right. Now that you mentioned that, I remember this is something that I thought like deep when I came to find out that, for example, take the forex thing. And then a lot of us we see, maybe Nick, you let me know what you think also. A lot of us, when I began to find out about forex, it was these small boys with Lamborghinis and stuff in this Instagram and stuff. But I think 2016 I was living in Sunnyside, and just browsing through the internet, because I know what these traders, forex traders, they use big screens. They'll sit in a desk like this with a PC and some computer screens. So I sort of thought this thing is a black person only. It's done by these flashy guys. But I figured out one day, I was chilling, browsing the internet, and I saw on a property website, where they sell houses. Like you see, when you're selling a house, you take pictures of the house inside and out. So I thought, I looked at something that looked like a forex trading platform with computers and screens. And this thing is in a large mansion, a big house owned by a rich white person. And it was not the first time seeing something like that. I've seen it multiple times after that. But the information, it sort of dawned on me that this type of information has been available to these guys. The white people have been trading for a very long time, investing and trading. Only in the past 15 years, these young black guys sort of pushing this narrative that trading is a new thing, and only a select few people have now been privy to this information. But it's only in the black community, only in the middle class, the poor. We're just beginning now to be exposed to forex. I'm just giving it as an example. And in the past, I just realized white people have been trading, they have been knowing, they've been making money. And that's why you find that most of them work from home. They don't really, you don't find a lot of white people in the offices. It's only like 1% or 2% of the white population, but they are well off. They have the information, they are provided the tools. If it's coming to economy and survival, financially, they have been set. But the black people, the majority, 80% of the population, were not exposed to this information. So, and it's every man for himself. You have to fight to get it from the mud, but the information is not there. It's not readily available. It's there, but it's hidden. So it's sort of hidden information. So I'm agreeing with you in the point that you made, that it's a struggle, and the tools are not given to you, but the system is set up that you are part of it, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
For you to survive, you must figure it out. And then by the time you know the light bulb goes on, and you know the information is too late. You already lost the good years of your life. You are finding out these things that white people have been exposed to from a very young age. They have the information, the tools are there, they're given to them. So it's a bit unfair, man. The system is rigged. You
can say that.
Yeah.
But then, as it is, I would say it is because they know directly that some things actually started from way back. And going forward, they still want to push the same agenda, the same platform, and what they want to benefit directly from us. Allow me to say this as blacks. Because how it is that we were not given our rightful knowing of who we are.
No knowledge of self. Knowledge of self.
You understand? So knowledge of self has been taken away. To an extent whereby you do not know where you are going,
your origin or your destination, where you're going.
You can't know it. Now, self it's always about you educating yourself about where and where you're going.
Yeah.
What is happening directly now.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the topic that you've started, I just saw a picture recently whereby it's saying DANC. Now, it caught me to an extent whereby I'm like, I did a bit of research. Now, I saw some video on TikTok.
Yeah.
Mind you, it was de Klerk.
Okay, back in those times when you were still active.
Exactly. And you ask yourself that if someone who was one of our leaders, who was once a president, now he saw this coming, isn't this a plan?
Yeah, it's like
could it be a plan?
It's set. It's
yes,
preset.
Could it be a plan that actually was is going to be carried out?
So what was the video saying? The de Klerk video?
Declared he confirmed in a way that there's going to be a merger.
Okay.
There's going to be a merger
that's
about
new. That's new.
The old facing the old facing the new in terms
they're going
of
to
leadership.
merge. Okay.
And then the blacks are going to end up merging with the whites.
Okay. So
whereby
he envisioned that way before.
The vision whereby it's like saying to make the country go forward. Because in terms of how not the control, but how the country is ran directly. What I always feel is like at the back, someone is watching what is happening going forward.
So there are people who are overseeing the whole thing.
What is happening in terms of the constitution, how the country is ran. Allow me to say this in terms of, we can see even in terms of the media, we are being told.
What
going up and
they're
down,
feeding us certain information.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there is some hidden information that will not be given directly.
True.
Because it's all about the security as a whole. And of which I do understand. So when I saw that picture, allow me to go back to that.
Yeah.
And I saw that video when de Klerk made it.
That's going to be a major.
I saw whereby it's like saying, those who were here before, those who led before the blacks, they already have the platform. Remember, the resources here, the place here.
They're set.
Everything is set.
Yeah.
Directly, allow me to go back. Now, they are the ones who are having the resources. They are the ones who built the towns. They are the ones who made sure that resources are everywhere, whereby they can build what they want to build. Now, infrastructure, talk about it, any type of business, who ran them back then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying black people are not given the platform, but they are not given the platform because back then they were given a certain way to live in. Now, they are even pushed into the system to say, you are only allowed to do this and this and this. So when I say this and this and this, it's like a certain chronom whereby they are putting it that this is how in stereotypes these ones are living, this one's how they are supposed to live.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right, man. It's not a fair playing field, because we are coming in back in 94, 30 years later, we are still coming in from the back foot.
Exactly.
They already have the resources. They already have the information and trust funds and financial resources, capital.
Exactly.
So if you're going to compete with them, you need to be one of them.
Yeah, you have to be equipped.
You have to be one of them. You can't compete with them if you are just saying that you are being backed by black people, because black people as a whole, we don't have kind of money like what they have, what they came in the system with. They already come with resources. So it's an unfair system in a way. It's definitely an unfair system.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
So as it is, what I'm already seeing or what is coming to be, it's like saying in the long process, we can be saying, yes, we are coming back from voting.
Yeah.
They say the vote is our voice.
Yeah.
But we are not given the platform.
That's how they package it. That's how they package it.
So when we put our axis, somewhere, somehow, it doesn't impact on us. It doesn't come back to actually benefit us.
Trickling down from the higher structures to the normal person.
Structures.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So when the whites came up with this, they had a certain platform about why this thing has to
the
take
democratic
place.
thing,
so they
the
know,
voting.
They know most definitely why they they set up a system whereby members have to vote.
Vote, yeah.
And we are voting for people who, I would say, as of now, what I see or what I always, in terms of the news and everything, that already is happening. There are certain topics always happening, whereby it's said, but there are no results about them. As we are coming back from voting. Now another hot heated issue has come out. It's like we are given or fed every time a certain topic to only focus on was that one that was the heated one. No solution, no resolution. We just
move forward. Yeah, that's how the manipulator sort of strategize. I mean, they for example, there was a period where I'll give, because it's quiet now when it comes to one of these, the same example you're giving. There was a period when the whole country was buzzing with Mukwebane, the advocate, the public protector, former public protector. But now it's quiet, man. You move on from that. Now it comes election time, load shedding, ESCOM. So they sort of bring the new hot topic now, feed it to you every day, everywhere in the media. That's all you are hearing. So now we forgot. Now also during elections, all of a sudden Thabo Bester.
We are going back to Thabo Bester.
Just popped up now. So there is the manipulator using the tools that they have to manipulate the masses. So I feel like we are like
puppets trying to be controlled, what needs to happen
on the chessboard. Yeah, that's how the manipulator does, man. And then we're gonna forget, and we won't have interest. The journalists, they are moving on also. They are going to the new story. They forget Thabo Bester. I'm sure the court was empty. They
are looking into the pockets.
Yeah. What is selling right now, that's what they're pushing us to. So right now is coalitions also. Coalitions, GNU, the Government of National Unity. That's the hot thing right now. And then, so they're painting a narrative of there's going to be destruction and destabilization if you don't walk in a certain way or come together favoring the DA or the establishment. They're painting a narrative. That's all you are hearing in the media. That's all you are hearing, the rent, the economy, because they are painting a certain picture of scaring the masses. Once you scare the masses,
you can control them.
You can control them, and we're going to keep quiet and let these guys in the ANC structures and the DA sort this thing out and come together, because we have been neutralized by the fear of saying that if you let these other parties like the MK or the EFF merge with the ANC, that's the unlikely scenario. We don't want that. They paint a picture of, we don't want that. Yeah. This is what you want. You want jobs, you want better education, you want the economy to stabilize. So that's the sort of setup that they paint to give fear to the people. So it's definitely something to consider and just to keep an open mind out there, that not everything is as it seems. The type of information we are being fed is not necessarily the truth. Yeah, there are a lot of things happening.
Yes, man. Allow me to say this, ne?
Yeah.
It's through experience of some things. Whenever when you're sitting down and you're watching a show, and you're in South Africa, and then you watch another show overseas, you can see that here there's something happening as you grow. So as I grew, I realized that actually it's no more about actually letting us know what are heated topics, or they're trying to give us information what's happening in our country.
Yeah.
It's directly what they want us to know, what they want us to actually believe and follow. You know why I'm saying this? Directly, allow me to say, or actually go back to the time when it was COVID.
Yeah.
We are being heated by one the same virus.
Yeah.
Information was so different to an extent whereby you could see that our own leaders, they didn't know what to do. We understand we got hit by something that we do not know.
No one knows.
We will go outside in order to get information. But then when it came back
to local information,
it was absolutely
different.
Totally, utterly different.
Serious. Like, for example, I mean, yo.
There were a lot of things that were different.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that were different.
Yeah.
When you look
the media
as to
outside,
how other countries they maneuvered themselves through COVID.
It
was totally different
because they have different information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I understand it was the first time that we experienced this.
It's a big event.
Other countries had the experience. They were trying to help us in order to move. But then there was a jam in terms of when I saw that actually our leaders maybe they just didn't know what to do.
Or they didn't have the backbone.
They didn't have the backbone to actually show that they are here for us. Remember when we cast our vote? Why I didn't vote?
Yeah. Okay.
When we cast our vote, I
vote.
didn't vote.
Why?
My main, not reason, but I made it a choice that from now on, if there are no changes with the leading party or the parliament as a whole, change has to happen.
True.
We are going forward. Things are changing. We are even living in the system of, allow me to say, technology and all.
Yeah, digital.
Are they equipped enough? They themselves.
Yeah, no.
Do they have the strategies to actually make new things actually work for us
and
going
play
forward?
a part in this new digital age?
Exactly.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, to be honest, I mean, I agree with you. From a perspective of somebody who didn't vote, and now from a perspective of somebody who voted, I saw it like first-hand experience. Like, we are not ready for the digital age. We are not ready government-wise, and also voting-wise. Man, I saw that firsthand. I was, I won't lie to you. I voted for the EFF. As I said in the podcast, in the past episodes, that I voted them 2019. I still voted for them now. But and when I was there, I was playing my part as a party agent.
Yes.
Just going through the votes, counting how many people voted, and marking for the whole day. I was there from like 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. marking, just to make sure I'm controlling together with the other parties. So EFF had party agents, myself and another guy, and then other parties had their own agents, and I was there playing my part. But I could see the type of admin, the catastrophic failures that the IEC has, which shows the government also technologically we are not advanced.
Yes.
We are not ready. You can't react to COVID in the way that we did, and then expect to be a first world country.
Exactly.
We are still a third world, and we are still very much far behind. And you cannot, for example, give this guy Elon Musk as an example. He wanted to bring this kind of satellite internet to South Africa to advance Africa, not just South Africa, Africa. But South Africa is one of the countries that refused the advancement of technology. And he's a technological guru with Tesla and the kind of companies that is doing Neuralink. I don't know if you have heard of Neuralink.
I hear what you're saying.
It's a new technology that they are developing, but and it's going to sort of modify the brain, and they're going to put a chip in your brain, and then if you, they're sort of packaging it as a technology that is going to help people who are physically impaired, those maybe who have been in accidents, they can't move their hands and legs. They put a chip on your brain, control it to your brain so that you can move your body and your fingers, or move a computer screen with your mind. So they're sort of putting it in practice. But if you take the simplest example of technology, which is the internet, you have basic internet, you have 3G, you have 4G, 5G, and then Elon Musk is bringing satellite internet. Satellite internet that is going to improve the speed of how we do things, but they refuse. And then now in voting, you have jams in network, breakdown in communication, the tablets that they're using. I saw these firsthand. They were just there, not working. but they spend a lot of money buying those things. Every voting station had a tablet, but there's no data. There's no connection because in different areas, connection doesn't work. But now the government, the guys who are leading us, they refuse a guy like Elon Musk to bring a company. He's spending money to bring a company where the network is satellite based. You're going to use satellites to feed network and internet in Africa. And internet still, in the past few weeks, there's a cable under the sea. Mm-hmm. And then if that cable for some reason breaks or technically it's compromised, yes, we don't have internet in the whole country. The whole country and our neighboring countries, we don't have internet because we are still using cables to bring internet from the US into the whole world. So the fact that we have leaders who are leading us in a way that they're not forward thinking, they're not future focused, it sort of brings us back or brings us on a back foot as a country. And as a new generation going forward, we are set up to fail as a country.
It's sad when you realize we just even picked on my mind about something. You see, as you're even talking about the leaders, already, in terms of the platform, the youth itself is not given a chance to actually voice out or to equip themselves
or participate.
I'm saying this not out of disrespect, but it was said even by Malema. We are being led by people who are already.
They are fat, man. Their pockets are fine.
They are already fine.
They are fine.
And then they are the elders already. Now
in the
we are
70s.
going forward. Vision-wise, do they have it? Do they know actually what the youth want? Do they actually know what is it that the youth directly now is impacting on them? Do they hear the cries of the youth? They do not.
Yeah, 100%.
Because another challenge is we come from different eras.
Yeah.
Sometimes you would feel like they're actually feeding their time so that when their time goes, they would be done.
They're okay. They've taken enough.
But then we're going to have to now breed a new. We have to develop a new structure in terms of who is going to lead going forward.
Yeah.
I always ask myself a question. After Cyril, who's going to be the president?
Yeah. You can see his deputy. It's in the same league. It's a valid question, man. It's a valid question. Because they come from the same fraternity. They are all above 60. So if Cyril is in his 70s, the next guy is in his 60s. So
they are all pensioners. They are even given the mandate that when you meet a certain age, you must resign. But they are not resigning.
They're not resigning. Themselves. It's legally a law that at 65, you must be a pensioner. But those guys are not following the same law that they set.
Exactly.
100%.
So it's just we don't even know what to say because we can see going forward.
Yeah, it is, man. What do you think, man? What do you think, Nick, in terms of just in your age group, when you look at the when you look at the country?
Yeah, the only thing I got to think about, like it won't touch this one directly, is I got to think of, now imagine the generation after me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Imagine them being leaders. That's scary.
Exactly.
It is, man. It is.
I wouldn't want to also have a kid.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be in a generation where no one's equipped to lead.
To lead, yeah.
Exactly.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. To be honest, man. Yeah, man, you're right. I have kids myself, but it's scary, man. But the thing that you're mentioning, man, God bless the dead. There's a guy who passed away recently when I was getting married 2 months ago. I just realized when I was in honeymoon that I saw on Facebook he passed away. The same thing that you were saying. I met him like 10 years ago. This guy, we worked together. He's from the Val. And then we met when we were working for MTN in Joburg. And then Yo, man, and I think he died without having kids. And then his main issue was like, when I met him, I didn't have kids also. He was like, no, definitely. And he was older at that time. He was like, I'm definitely not having kids in this kind of country. And he was saying this 10 years ago. And I think I didn't get him at that time. I didn't understand what is this guy saying. Because I come from the village. I come from a setup where family is mandatory. It's a given when you grow up. It's not even a question. You're gonna have a wife, you're gonna have a husband, you're gonna have kids. But I met a guy from the Val. His point of view was totally different, and I think he saw it. What we're experiencing now, if you look in 2050, this is 2024, 2050, 26 years from now, there's gonna be a person who's born now. By that time, there will be our age group, 25, 30, 35. I mean, what type of future do they have? What type of leader will they have? What type of generation will we have? Because we don't have leaders and a generation that is leading technologically wise. We are consuming from outside.
Yes,
we are consuming
from outside.
Yeah, and then what will happen, man?
And I would believe even to some extent, do you think? No, I don't think. But it's actually reality.
Yeah,
it's
happening.
Do they actually take what is rightfully working from outside to bring it into a country, to exercise it, and to implement it? Now, we are old enough, we can see that in terms of how things are happening, reality is showing. It's not the directive, full force systems that are working that they are buying.
Yeah,
they're buying failed systems.
Failed system.
Because in the long process, you can see. Allow me to touch on even when coming to electricity now. You see, we are faced with load shedding. Now they are putting us in a system of saying you're gonna get used to one thing. There's a certain time whereby electricity will be there.
Off.
Now they created a platform schedule
So
to know that. At this time you'll have electricity. At this time you won't have electricity. Now they've moved to water.
The same
our
type
basic
of thing.
needs are being taken for granted.
Yeah, 100%.
Our basic needs are simply taken for granted. Before we can get to anything else, our basic needs.
No,
you just voted.
I agree with you.
You just voted.
Yeah.
And I told you, and I said it to you.
Yeah.
Remember. Don't be surprised when something starts to change.
Immediately after
you
voting.
vote.
Yeah.
Immediately after you vote. Now, there's already a schedule about water. Where it will be, where it will not be. What is happening?
Man, it starts with power and now it's water. Man.
Exactly.
We need to watershed.
So, with this too, how are we going to survive?
You can't survive. Those are the most basic things that you
basic
need
needs.
every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Gauteng, for example, or all cities are based on the premise that there's water and there's electricity.
Exactly.
You don't have a city. Why are we here if we going to half of the time not have power?
Yeah,
and
it's heated topics that I always see when coming to Mojalaf. They're talking about them to an extent whereby you can see that, you know what, the citizens are tired.
Yeah, man,
they're trying to find ways. They are even calling in people who I would say they are their leaders. But the ones who are supposed to be their leaders, they do not want to face them.
Yeah.
Why?
You are
elected to say, you are the one saying, yes, you take an oath and you say you are going to be the leader for this.
Yeah.
But then you do not want to answer to why you didn't deliver.
Yeah.
So it started with service delivery. Now we are talking about water and electricity.
Yeah, man. It's total. It's totally chaos.
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, man, I agree with you totally, man. It's we are all experiencing it, man. The water thing in Pretoria West, for example, where we are right now. In the past week, we had like twice water disturbances 2 days in a row. Electricity, it will cut off any time it wants. And then sometimes we don't have load shedding, but there are other areas near us who have it. The water thing, it's affecting us every other week. So, and definitely just a week after elections, we're experiencing issues where you don't have water. And you can't live without water.
Yeah, you can't live without
it. And then we're in a system where we are the majority of people in the labor force, but the structures and the systems They won't listen to you when you say, I don't have water, I can't come to work, hygiene and things of that nature. They want you to be there.
Exactly.
But the government is not equipping us. It's, it's failing in terms of service delivery. It's total chaos, man. And you mentioned a point there in passing about technology, that the type of systems, you are not sure, are they buying the best? Are they buying things that are working, or they are bringing things that have failed? And it's actually, man, I've realized
it's evident.
Yeah, it's evident. It's
because
evident.
Even with the programs that we see under the TV, that
it's outdated.
It's outdated.
It played in America 10 years ago. They are bringing it here.
Yes.
Have you noticed? Like it's always like that.
Yes. We can't say only America, but remember
other countries.
Other countries, wherever they are buying the systems. So you can see that these ones are not the legit ones that are directly the ones being used directly now.
Yeah, it's like 5 years ago they had this.
Exactly.
Even the iPhones, I just realized, man, we get iPhones here late. They already have this thing they've been using, even other technologies, because you remember Silicon Valley, or where they design and develop these technologies. It's not just one person. It might be, there's a company there, let's say a competitor of Apple. There's Apple and there's other companies, maybe 5 of them doing similar thing. These guys went to varsity together. They know the same things. They come up with technologies. They design companies and bring technologies locally in US or in the UK or in Europe. They use these things for years, and then we get the version that is popular there. The one which is popular, it gets distributed or authorized to be imported into our country. But there are other technologies that have been enjoyed by the outside world long before we get it, and we are getting just one version of what they have. And then it's because we can't design our own, we don't have the infrastructure to make our own. Man, it's weird, man.
Look, the tip is just about one thing. They picked it up that South Africa actually has a lot of money.
Resources we have.
Resources, as for how we are having them. We, the citizens, are not given the capacity and the capability to actually to be equipped about using them.
And participating
so that
in
we may be the one growing our own country.
Yeah.
But they are taking some things from outside, bringing them in so that we may spend. Whereby they are getting there. You understand?
Yeah, the tax, the VAT. So we are consuming, and we like being the consumer.
Remember, they have picked it up. We're having chats when coming to people that are already in our countries.
Yeah.
In our country. So we know as of now. There was a time whereby I felt like, does our government actually think that or view or trust that actually South Africa can actually feed the whole of Africa? It's highly impossible. We are not Jerusalem.
I doubt that they believe.
We are really not Jerusalem. We cannot be. Whereby we can say everyone come in. You understand?
Yeah. No, so, that's a valid point.
So the people from outside, you can see. Allow me to give just an illustration. I was there whereby I'm always chilling. I just like to play pool. Snooker.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing one of the guys whereby they are taking out a note whereby they want to buy.
Like just a 50 rand.
Time, yes, it was a 50 rand, 100 rand. Something clicked on me whereby it went like, the way this person is spending the money. Because I could see already what they are buying. They do not know the impact that we are facing. Directly, they do not know because they don't pay any tax. Directly, they do not know because
they are
spending their money according to how they feel. Now, when you talk to them, you can hear even with the engagement that
you have.
You guys, you are having what we want. You guys, you are staying in a place whereby directly they are free.
Intermingled with us.
They are free, but we are not.
We are paying tax.
In our own.
We are forced to participate.
Yes,
for them, they are free.
Everything, pay for everything, but they are not.
They are living free.
They are living free.
Because tax is one of the biggest expense that one has, man.
Yes.
And then the fact that they don't pay it or they're not forced to pay it, it already gives them a step ahead, man. They're already 1 or 3 steps ahead. Because if you, for example, you get 1,000 rand and you have to pay 18 or 180, That's already 18% of that 1,000 rand. So you take out 180, you are left with something like 720.
It's like they had a more or less knowledge of some, more or less. It's like before they were coming from where they were coming from, coming into here, already these people have studied.
They know the environment.
Know already that are South Africa, what's happening.
This is what the area that they're targeting. Yeah.
And allow me to say this. I had...
What's up, man?
Our national anthem sang.
Okay.
Our national anthem sang in the Zimbabwean language. The
Serious?
same way that you know Nkosi Sikelel Africa.
Yeah.
The same way.
Wait.
You know when
word
it was
for
played.
word.
You know when it was played.
When?
The day you guys were voting.
Serious?
Yeah.
Where did you hear that?
That place, I tell you where.
Where you hang out?
Yeah, where
so
I always hang out. It's like
wow.
that place. There's a magnet that pushed me to go actually there.
Yeah.
You know why? Already I'm in my country. What is it that I will learn that I do not know?
You know?
Now,
but now you are learning new things.
I can hear. You can hear that the people who are actually there, they are equipped. They have a certain knowledge that we do not have.
They see things differently.
They've been faced with a lot of things. Remember,
right,
from the struggle, from where, as of now, why they came this side. A lot of things have been deprived that side.
And
now they know when they're in here. Most definitely they're getting what they want.
And I think the biggest mistake that one can make is to assume that these guys are stupid or they are not equipped. They are coming here because they are poor. They're just doing this odd job. But these guys, they're smart, man. They're strategizing. Exactly. They are not just here to only do these small jobs and then they're out. They're strategizing.
Well, their small jobs is not small jobs. Allow me to say this. Most men in South Africa do not have the skill. Now they have the technical skill. They know how to build. They know how to do things whereby they can actually extract. You know, most definitely
they can do things with their hands. Yeah,
they can do a lot of things with their hands. Now we are given already a system whereby we are about not the practical, but about the theory.
The theory, 100%.
Now, we are equipped towards and directly for the theory, not given the practical.
The technical.
The technical one, it's always about infrastructure, as it is.
That's how you build a country, man.
Yes.
You need a skilled population.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they already knew that even when they came this side, they're not about to build. They're going to be about... creating more and more. They knew.
They are extracting, man. They come here and there is a lot of jobs that need technical work. And these guys, and I'll give you with an example with, I've been here for like how many, 4 or 5 years in this house in Pretoria West. I have had many times where I needed technical work to be done. And it's always foreigners coming to do that. And there is once in a while, one white person. Because the white people also, they know the technical work.
They know the technical work.
Especially the Afrikaner, most of them, they know the technical work. But they're outnumbered by the foreigners. And locally, we are the larger number, but we don't do those jobs. So, and we don't have the skill, man. There's a lot of money, man.
Hence I mentioned.
If you tell a guy from Eka, see that, come and do tiles now, you're going to pay him 2.5. If he knew how to do it, he could.
Yes.
But we don't have those skills. Most of the local South Africans, all languages, all tribes, most of us, we don't like to do these jobs, or we are not taught, or we are not gravitating towards learning the skill of doing tiles, painting, and all that. It's only a few. And the guys who are in our faces, putting themselves out there to say that I can do the job, I can paint. It's the guys from Zim, it's the guys from Moz, Lesotho, countries outside of our own. So it's the way it is, man. They are. I don't even think that we can quantify how much money they're making.
Exactly.
Because it's off the grid. It's off the system. It's informal, but I believe it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I believe it's a lot of money.
Because they already picked up one thing. Remember South Africa as to how it's already built.
Yeah.
From back
infrastructure
there,
is there.
Infrastructure-wise,
roads,
a lot of things right now.
It's
they're they need to be restructured. They need to be rebuilt.
Repaired
Yes,
and
they need to be repaired.
Improved.
Because a lot of places so far, it's very old houses.
Yeah,
you see 100%. As to where we are living already now.
It's like an old neighborhood.
Yes, it's old neighborhoods and all. Remember who built them. So they know the infrastructure now has to be rebuilt.
It's been 50 years or 80 years.
Yes.
So back in the day, this was the neighborhood where we are, which was next to ISCO. So the company that deals with steel and raw materials, this was their base. This was the base of their workforce. Their labor came from a neighborhood like this. The people who lived here worked for ISCO. That's why you have this road next to us, ISCO Road. Yes. So this is right next to industrial areas. So, and people lived here, worked here. The establishment came and went. These houses are here, but we moved in. Now it's like 80%, 90% black people. The infrastructure needs to be revamped.
Yeah,
the roads,
they need to rebuild.
The electricity needs to be.
They already knew that it's going to come to be, a lot of things are going to be stale. They're going to be out of date.
And then the roads, there's a lot of traffic jam because it's small. It was built for the population of that time.
Exactly.
Now it's grown. You can see the Atteridgeville people passing every morning, every evening. It's jam packed.
Yes.
It needs to be improved because there is us and there is more of us from the villages, from the Bantustan moving in here, and there's also outsiders coming in here. It's packed. The infrastructure is overused. It's overloaded.
Yes. So, and actually, it was a national road actually going to northwest.
To northwest, but now it's like a local road because a lot of us we use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of things
they need to be repaired.
Now, if you were to take all this and you realize that actually everything starts with the system.
Yeah.
Our education system.
Yeah, for example.
Is it really directly working for those who we say right now, as we are, me and you already, we are working. But then we can see as to how things
we came from that system.
Exactly.
I don't think it's
working.
I don't think it's
going
working.
forward with the youth, with the new generation that's coming. Is it really working?
I don't think it's working, man. I don't think
it's not.
I think I stand to be corrected on this. I'm just going off what I saw when I was getting prepared to vote and doing the podcast that I did. The numbers of schools in South Africa, 30-something thousand, 20-something. And then, for example, here where we are, we have 2 schools or 3. This is like, there's 2 voting districts. So each voting district, municipal district, it goes with a school, a clinic. It goes with, a local government district.
Exactly.
So if you go by the fact that we have 23,000 districts, then there's like about 23,000 or more schools. So, and then maybe 3,000 of those is private schools. And then the rest of them, 85-90% is public schools. And the way that the system is built, my brother always says this, and many other people, they say the same thing. The system is not designed to create independent people. It's not designed to create entrepreneurs. It's not designed to create bosses. It's designed for us to go into the job sector, the labor market. So it's already failing because the same system is overwhelmed. The same system that's supposed to absorb the people that they are, building up is overwhelmed. It cannot take all of them. There is a lot of more than 70% unemployment in the youth, 35 and under. And then the whole country, 30-something% unemployment. So the system is built in a way that it's not meant for us to be independent. And there are parties. I mean, this thing is logical. There are parties like these new parties that came up now. They were saying they are promising a job in every family. They are proposing a new system of education, like Umusi, Maimane is saying that, but. And then you look at the results, I'm like, if jobs are important and they are a deciding factor in how we are voting, because most of us, we are not working or we are, dismally paid, we want to get higher pay. If that was the deciding factor, we could have voted a guy who's promising to restructure our education system to equip it to create jobs. But it's not like that. We are still voting for the people that are the regular, the usual suspects. So I think, man, we need to do a deep dive on the education sector. It's not built for for us to be bosses, to be independent, to be businessmen, and we can try. I've tried, I've failed, I've tried businesses. I'm still doing my hustle here and there.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you are not coming from a background where you are equipped and educated and groomed to be a business person, you are going to fail. You are going to go back to default setting and go and fill in a CV and look for a job. I was there in 2016. I was unemployed. I thought, okay, what's the next thing to do? Start a business. I started one. And we know, man, because we know theory, I started drafting business plans. I started doing business proposals. But that's not business, man. But in high school, in university, entrepreneurship courses, that's what they teach you. You need to have your numbers.
Exactly.
You need to have your income statement,
Yeah.
your business plan. But that's not business. People who have businesses, you find a problem, you identify it, you come up with a solution. Yeah, that's what business is. And people who have been doing it, who are actual businessmen, is not taught at school. They don't teach you the real business at school. There are many people who have MBAs and business management qualifications, but they're not in business. Business is problem solution. But our education system is not built like that. They will tell you that find a problem, identify it, come up with a solution. That's what they will teach you, but they don't do a deep dive in practicality of how you start a business, how you get the problem, find a solution. They only tell you as an introduction on paper, as an introduction of the entrepreneurial course. Then they move away from that. They go to numbers.
Exactly.
A lot of entrepreneurial courses, business management courses, they're doing numbers, accounting, and
numbers, accounting, administration.
And then you do business management, and then you go and work.
Exactly.
It's not really equipped for us to be business people. So that's why we are always going to be failing men. So I don't know, what do you think should be done differently in terms of just, it's my heart gets broken, man. What do you think, Nick?
Could it be
before we go?
All right.
Before we go on,
okay, Nick can go through.
Yeah.
The other thing that's damning is the people who are talented and skilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll always have that narrative of like, if you're skilled, you should go abroad.
Yeah.
To actually improve your skills.
I thought about that also.
Exactly.
The skill force is taken away from
from South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
leaving.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've seen something like that. In Limpopo, there's technical guys with science, technology. They come up with new way of making electricity from scratch, from air, or making water from air and stuff like that. They're overseas now.
Exactly.
So you're definitely right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the system, they identify the bright stars and then they pull them out.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, what do you think, man? Les, what do you think we should
The
do?
development is not done here. As the young man said.
Yeah.
The development is not done on our side.
Right. Yeah.
Will not be done for us.
The infrastructure is not benefiting us.
Exactly. So when you say what needs to be done, it has to start from the
education.
beginning, the system itself, nothing else.
Yeah, start with the system.
The system has to be reviewed.
Like revamp from scratch.
They know our leaders as to what needs to be done, but it's not been done.
Yeah.
Because they are only having their own interests,
Their own agenda.
their own viewpoints. Now, what's coming to my mind is, can they identify after that, identifying what the country needs, execute the plan and see how it goes, so that it will benefit the country and the people as a whole. Not only to foresee what they are having as their own plan, as their own agenda.
Yeah.
Because already we as the people, we are faced with everything that's happening.
Yeah. The
Now,
lower
we
ground.
Yes, we can't check it out.
We experience all of it.
So we're experiencing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Whereby we are even overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed and they know. So a new system I don't know how, but a new system has to come.
That's what we need.
Directly, man. A new system has to come through.
That's what we need. To be honest, man, I always question myself, and a lot of people will say this, man. A lot of podcasts, I consume a lot of podcasts, and one of the podcasts that I listen to is the Penwell Show. It's one of the good podcasts that is happening on YouTube right now. So he always says that a lot of things, if you look at the way that we grew up and the way that we are as a young generation growing, we are not exposed to a lot of things, man.
Yes, we're not exposed to a lot of things.
I myself have never, to be honest, I've never traveled to any other province except KZN. From Limpopo, Gauteng, KZN. And I'm 33 years old. I've never been out of the country. I've never been out of these 3 provinces.
Exactly.
There are many people like that, and there are younger people also. It's very few elite people who can travel outside of the country for learning, not for vacation. For learning. Very few people, and the Jewish people are very good at that, and they are a small community of South Africa, and they're not even from here. They are very good at putting their kids out there to go and learn. And I'll give you this, something that I heard from the Penwell Show also. The guy who started Chicken Licken, he is a Jewish person from South Africa, born here, and he went out on a traveling trip.
Exactly.
He came up with the recipe, or he learned the recipe, came back. His father already has an established business, a restaurant. He tries the recipes that he learned from outside. He, trials them in his father's restaurant, and then now the business is grown. Now he's standing by himself. He's owning something substantial. And if you can have a model like that, where a lot of us in our educations, we learn, and then we are exposed to different things. And there's this thing called an exchange program. I've heard it when I was in varsity only, that there's such thing called an exchange program. There were like 4 or 5 exchange students who came from the US. There's another one who was from UP who went to the US. Very few. The university has more than 6,000 students. There's like, you can count exchange students, which means if you have 6 students from the US, you have 6 from here who went to the US. And that's 6 in 25 universities in South Africa. So if you take 25, you multiply it by 6, that's not even 500 students in a year in a country with 60 million people. You have less than 50 students who are in an exchange program, and most of us in our own personal capacity, we are not exposed to that, and the educational system is not built like that. They design it so that we are here, we know what we are supposed to do. Once we graduate, you know where you are going to work for, who you could potentially work for. And I'll give you an example also with if you apply for a course in university, the first thing that you'll see on the summary of that course, what you can do with it, who you can work for, where you can. They even go as far as saying job titles that you can get with this course. They don't say what you can design with it, what you can develop with it, what type of business and solution you could bring to the market with this course. They're telling you accountant, financial manager, financial controller, warehouse. So it's designed like that from the law, and the way that they design the courses. It makes me dumbfounded just to think about the way they design it from the young age. You have streams. So it's a channel, it's a pipeline. You have accounting stream, you have science stream, agricultural stream, history stream, and then home sciences stream. So it's a pipeline of going to the retail field, you go into the science field, you're working for Eskom, you're working for Transnet, you're working for these industrial companies, construction companies, or you go into the admin sector, finance, business, you're doing government, public admin. So it's sort of channeled for you to go in the pipeline. And when you get to varsity, they're packaging it as job titles. They're not packaging it as independence and business. I wonder if there's a country that is actually, a leader in terms of from the young age. Maybe there is. Countries like China, Singapore, countries like that in the Middle East, Asia. I think they are maybe leading, but we're not copying what they're inventing in terms of how their educational system is. And I saw a picture, I think this week, of it was trending on social media, of a young boy, probably 6 or 7, operating earth moving equipment. Like at a school, there's a school with a very small sort of like, this caterpillar equipment for construction. This young boy knows how to operate this thing from a young age. And in Singapore, they build models. Kids in primary school, they build a model of a building, like a sort of architectural model from a young age. They are being taught how to invent reinforcement. Like if you're building a double-story house or a industrial building, they are being taught from a young age to think like that, to think, how do I come up with a new technology or a new way of creating a futuristic building. They are not being taught to say, this is the book of the models that we have now, learn them, learn how to draw them, learn how to implement them. Because when you go to work for G5 or these industrial companies, this is what they're doing. You just have to learn this. You get employed. You're going to implement what you learned in a book. But in countries like Singapore, they're already leading, implementing things that is for the benefit of their countries. Exactly. And those are some of the desirable countries to work in or to live in.
You touch on the viewpoint that I'm actually trying to say.
Yeah. We
Making
need to,
sure that we develop our country going forward.
And that how you do that, you start from the young age.
Start from scratch.
Start from scratch with the young ones. Because
from the young ones.
We are already out, man. We are already out. You can't start now learning or being taught how to think like that when we are in our 40s, our 30s. We can only influence or shift our minds to help the young ones, the new generation that's coming. Yeah, it's a shame, man. And man, we've been talking for almost an hour and 10 minutes. It doesn't even feel like that, man. It feels like we've been talking for 30 minutes, but we've only touched a handful of topics. But I feel very good, man. I feel very good about what we have touched on, and it sets a precedence for the next time we get to sit down again. It set the tone for what we can talk about, definitely.
Remember, Brother Eugene?
Yeah.
This is a platform.
Yeah.
But it is a reality that we are talking about.
We're in the real world.
We are in the real world and we are facing all these things.
Yeah.
Now, if you are not going to say anything about it, there's nothing that can be done also.
True.
You have to voice out what is happening.
Yeah.
So that, because at the same time, we see different things differently. You understand? And only through talking, I would believe that it's only when we can actually push towards getting a resolution about something.
Start a dialogue.
Yes. So starting also with what we are talking about, we are heated with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Already.
We are facing a lot.
Whereby sometimes one would feel overwhelmed thinking that they are alone. Yeah. But actually it's everyone.
It's everyone, man. It's like the masses we are.
Allow me to say this. You know, me and you have always been talking directly us as men. Directly us as men.
Yeah.
These things need to be talked about.
Yeah, we need to discuss them.
Because they are enforced directly with the law facing and directly hitting us.
Yeah.
You can try to run away as a man, but the law, you can never run away from.
It won't let you.
Because we are directly hit with each and everything that's happening. Because the women are looking as to what is it that we are doing.
They look at you.
They look at us as men.
They look at us.
Exactly.
Even
now,
as Nick as a young man also. Same thing.
So when we do not have the solutions, what do you think the women are thinking?
I don't know, man.
No.
Who do they look to?
What kind of men are we breeding here? So we really need to.
Yeah, man. It needs a serious overhaul, man. Our societal systems, the education system.
Exactly.
It needs a serious revamp, because the way it's built, man, it's like every system is against you, but you are supposed to be the one who's taking care of everything. but the system doesn't let you shine, or that doesn't create an environment where you can be that man, or you can be that person who leads. And it's difficult, man, to be a breadwinner, or to be the head of a family. It's not easy, man. It's not only within a relationship setup where the man is looked at as the one who must take charges. In all setups, in community setups, in work setups, it's always, when there's something to be done, they look at the guys.
Exactly.
They don't look at
for
the
a ship to move. It needs an anchor.
Yeah.
Now, what is our anchor as a whole directly now? Exactly. So the system itself, what we are put in to actually work for and towards for, directly for us, is it really working?
Yeah, 100%, man. It is not working as the way it is right now. So it needs to be set up in a way that it will change, man. Going forward, yeah, it looks like we have a lot, man, to talk about. There's a lot that we can talk. There's many topics that we're going to touch on, and then I have a few episodes that I'm going to do. This is just the 8th of June. This is the first episode of this month. So I'm planning that we'll do more episodes. So if we can sit down once a month together, and in the other coming weeks, I'll be sitting with other people also. And then I think Nick has already set us up in terms of the sound. Next time we just plug in and record. And then also I'll bring in new guests so that when me and you, when we sit again for the second session, let's say in a month, then we have come full cycle. I've discussed other things with other people, and then we sort of catch up and see. Maybe we'll spark a dialogue amongst other people also, so that they can see that there are people talking about these things, and maybe it will influence the type of discussions that we can have. And I will open the platform to other people also. So hopefully once we get the interface, we can have 3 mics. Once we have one interface into the recording, and then we have 3 XLR mics, and then we can have 3 people. So we can bring other people. But this is a good start, man. Thank you so much for coming through and sitting down for an hour. We have talked about a lot, and I think we just scratched the surface, because there's a lot that we can talk about.
Yeah, so
there's a lot.
Going back to the first opener of topic.
Yeah,
you mentioned what will happen going forward as of now.
Yeah.
Now the answer is there. The leading party.
Yeah.
The ones who they want to collide with, coalition-wise, parliamenters, and all the ones that are having the rightful seats, look into the system directly.
Yeah.
They have to create something that will work for our country.
Definitely.
They have to.
I don't think system-wise,
they have to create something that will work into our country. Now, looking into also, as we know, the party itself, as it is ANC, it's a Black Communist Party. DA.
So liberal party.
Coming together. I was sitting.
How will they
I was just viewing something someday whereby I felt like if it could happen that when this kind of a thing happens, they sit down and they view directly to the results of what has happened.
Yeah.
Now going forward, come up with the resolutions.
Yeah.
We can't go forward with new things to be tested every time. There has to come a resolution about those who were there before. Starting directly. We are facing a problem.
It's a serious crisis.
And water.
I don't think these guys, they don't know, man, the problems we have. They know. But
they know they are not facing them. You know that thing
they are comfortable.
You'll only cry when the thing actually hits
affects you.
When it affects you.
Yeah.
But for them,
for now, they don't.
They are not affected.
They are comfortable. They are not experiencing what we are experiencing.
They are not.
And I just heard in the past week that they've increased the ministers and members of parliament salaries by 2%.
It's sad when you realize that they're doing that, but then on our side, they're not doing it.
They're not improving. We're not getting any better things. things are worse and worse, man.
Yes.
I totally agree with you, man. We are dealing with a lot. So I think going forward with the coalition, the merging of these two parties, ideologically they're not in agreement.
They have to come up with a solution. They themselves
to solve the problems that we're experiencing. Because if you look at the fundamental issue, like you said, with electricity, they totally differ. The ANC and the DA, they're totally at loggerheads in terms of what needs to be done to solve it. They don't agree. But how do you merge and compromise, come up with a unified government if you don't agree with the basic thing that is the biggest problem in the country? How do you have a government working together but you don't agree on what needs to be done?
So what is the definition actually about them? Directly what I'm asking is this. What are they to us? Are they servants?
Yeah, you're supposed to, as a public servant, you're supposed to serve the people.
Can they do that? That's all that needs to be done.
You know,
Go back to the basics. Remember why you are in parliament.
Why you are here.
They must just remember why they are in parliament. It is not because of their will.
It's not leadership
It's not because
it's
of
serving.
their will.
It's servantship.
Now, when we vote, when you guys voted, you had most definitely the understanding and saying, you know what, we are selecting these ones because we feel they can meet our needs. But then when it's not done, a change has to come through.
Yeah, we need to bring new people that we are giving the mandate to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yo, man, it's quite hectic. The way I see it, where we are going as a country, I think it's going to be chaotic, man, because there's already squabbles right now with the talk of a unified government. The people are not in agreement with bringing a capitalist party into the agreement or into government. Because it's clear when you look at what they are promising or what they are saying is what they want to do, how they want to solve the problems. It doesn't favor black people. It doesn't favor the poor. What the DA is going to do, it doesn't favor black people.
Exactly.
It doesn't favor the poor. And I mean, you have to balance the scales.
Exactly.
If you're talking about electricity and you are talking about, let's say, jobs and also social grants, you have to balance the scales because the majority of our country is poor. And then if you're saying as the DA you don't believe in social grants and minimum wage and what do you call minimum basic income grant, things of that nature, you have to balance. If you're saying we are all about jobs, you're gonna create 2 million jobs, think about the people who are never skilled, never educated. How will they survive in this new system of a capitalist nature?
The DA has a point, more or less. We're having this kind of a discussion even at work, whereby you can see that what was happening from back then when they set the Freedom Charter and then in the long process when the elected black president came through, they want to start eradicate to make sure that starting from there they start to fix everything. Directly that was done by the leadership of the blacks
of the ANC.
Now it's like saying they are digging deeper into knowing that the problem started whereby corruption, they are taking those kind of
the looting, the taking of the money.
They are going directly there. Now it's going to shut down a lot of things that already black people have created.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because when you started back in 94, you have Bantustans. They were still active. They've just been abolished and merged into one country or one nation. In those Bantustans, you had elite leaders, like they were almost like traditional leaders. Even in my area in Venda, you have presidents there. There was a president in the Bantustan, but he was from a royal family. It's almost like royal houses or traditional houses. It was an elitist system, modeled after the Queen and the United Kingdom. It was modeled like that because the Queen had an influence on South Africa. So those Bantustans were modeled from that. You have a king, but they're an elite king or an elite queen they have most of the resources, most of the land. They enjoy most comfortable the use of the resources of that Bantustan. So when you match that back to the new South Africa 1994, people are poor. Parcels were the majority of where people got food back then. There used to be maize. You get a 50 kg maize from the government. If you are poor, you get some soup, some sort of soup to feed the poor. And then there was an issue of poverty. So the grant solved that. It sort of gave a family 2,000 or 1,500 back then. Yes. And then you give them a house. So those were the problems that were prevalent at that time. Yes. So the government of the ANC or the black government solved black problems when they came in. But now in this time that we are in 30 years later, most of the houses, most of the poor families, they have houses now, even if it's not a good quality house. Somebody has an income, maybe it's from the government or they have a sort of a minimum wage job. But now you have a new phase or a new government that is coming. You need to look at the problems of the current time. You have a lot of youth unemployment. The youth do not want an RDP house.
They know the current affairs.
They know the problem. We don't want I don't want an RDP in a village.
Exactly.
You can't solve my problems by giving me a house or giving me a grant. Yes. Even if it's 1,000 rand basic income grant, it doesn't solve my problems.
Exactly.
We need to move to a place where the youth are equipped. We are independent. We create businesses. We participate in the market. But if you bring a political party like the DA, they are focused on capital. And capital is not small time. It's big time. It's not small capital. It's big capital.
Exactly.
So they are focused on empowering companies that are huge, and that one of the propositions that the DA has is creation of electricity through private producers or households. They want the model that they use in Cape Town, where a household will have solar, and then solar will cost you not less than 150,000 to install. And they're saying that families will have solar, create electricity, sell it to the government. Companies that are private, that have money, will create electricity, sell it to the government. But it's not the majority that can afford solar. It's not the majority. For you to have solar, you must have a house first. It's not the majority that can have houses. Mm-hmm. We need a government that knows its majority, that knows its people. And that is the black government. We need a unified government of parties that agree on one thing. If they're saying that we're going to solve the problems of our constituency, which is the majority black people, middle income or middle class or lower, going to the poor, this is the problems they have. Unemployment, a lack of public service. When the public service is bad, I can buy water. Not many people can buy water. The poor in the township, when there's no water, when there's no electricity, they don't have a backup. Other people can afford to buy a UPS backup system. It's 15,000 or 20,000. The majority of people in the township where electricity is being cut, where water is being cut, they can't afford to buy water. And you can't have sanitation if there's no water. And if you have to buy just to have good sanitation and hygiene, most people will not be hygienic. They will get sick. They are being put in worse situations because of the fact that they are poor. But now if you bring a government of unification of parties which are focused on the elite or the rich, the whole country is going to collapse. So I think I would love to see a change in a way that we have a government that is focused on uplifting the poor so that there is inequality. Or there is equality, eradicate inequality so that at least we have a middle ground or a place to start. Not that there are some elite and there are some poor people, and there's an imbalance there. And then we're just going to continue in that same path if we don't get a government that is focused on the masses. Because I hear a lot of talking with the DA. They are worried about the markets. They are worried about the rent. They are worried about capital and the JSE. Not everybody has a stake in the JSE. I don't even have shares. I don't even own a single share. Exactly. And I know there are many people who earn minimum wage, 3,500. They can't afford to take 1,000 rand from that income and buy shares. The majority of the country we are consuming. So if they are saying it will affect the markets, they are worried about their money that is in the JSE, in companies like ShopRite, where we are the largest buyer of ShopRite. They are worried about that because when you have money and you have to decide between fish oil or cooking oil and a share in ShopRite, you're going to buy food from ShopRite. You won't buy shares in ShopRite. You will buy food from ShopRite. So you have to equip the poor or the base of the country, because we are the highest consumer in South Africa. So if the DA is worried about the JSE, it's really misguided, because it doesn't affect the JSE, doesn't affect the majority. It affects the elite, those who are rich, those who own shares, or those who own the companies. They are the ones that should be worried about the collapse of the rand. But if we are still living, you have 60 million people who are going to consume, the country is going to grow. We'll keep on earning, we'll keep on consuming. That's how it is. But if you don't have money to start with, what are you going to use to buy food or to buy electricity? We need to start with a place where you increase. I agree with parties that are saying increase the minimum wage from 3.5, double it, make it 6,000, make it 7,000. Because 3.5 doesn't do anything. There are families of 3 people, not even 5 people. A family of 3 cannot survive on 3,500 rand grocery. They need more.
Yes.
And now you have a person who earns and they get paid 3,500. They need to do transport. They need to buy food. How does that person live? They need to buy electricity to live. And now it's chaos, man.
It's chaos.
It's
the
bad.
idea has to be logical. I feel DA, ANC, we can call about all the parties and all, but at the end they are the parliament, right?
It needs to be logical.
It needs to be logical, directly for the country, directly for the people, directly for the citizens that have voted for them.
The population.
They should not exercise their ideas.
Just out of the fact that it's a manifesto and they came up with.
As the slogan as they came with, they want to fix.
Fix SA, rescue
so
SA.
If they are saying they are going to fix SA, let it be about SA, not about their agendas.
The people. About the people.
It shouldn't be about their agendas. They are already having their own agendas.
Yeah.
And of which they like it so much to an extent whereby, remember, what they are talking about in there, we would never hear.
Yeah,
but
in their
what
meetings.
we hear from the media, it's only minimal about whatever
it's 10% of what they talked about.
Happening.
Yes.
Now, a certain vibe is already created amongst us as people.
Yeah, we already have certain beliefs or ideas about what we have had.
Logically, are they solving our problems?
We need to see solutions.
Exactly.
I think so. We need to see. Yeah, I think we are getting a note from Nick in terms of time, and also I think we should wrap it up. We've talked about a lot, man. We're almost 1 hour 30 minutes, so we did a lot. And I think for a first session, I'm grateful, man, that we talked about this. And I think I'll make notes based on what we talked about. There are a lot of things that we should do a deep dive on, man.
Yeah.
For example, the education system, the technology. Man, ever since I was like, my eyes opened, I began to see a lot of things about technology. The fact that we get the bottom of the shelf. We don't get top shelf stuff, we get bottom of the shelf. So we'll do a deep dive on things like that, on jobs and how do we revamp the country or the system from scratch. So, man, thanks a lot, bro Les.
Always.
And I'm learning a lot also, man.
I'm also learning a lot.
And this is the longest that we have sat and talked. Sometimes you talk 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is the longest. So I want us to build on that, and we learn from each other. We bounce ideas.
No problem.
So yeah, man, thanks a lot, man. We will sit again in 3 weeks or so. In the next 2 weeks, I'll sit with other people and sort of create a body of podcasts that are addressing different issues. And then I'm hoping that next time we'll have more microphones and have more people, at least maximum 3, so we can sort of bounce ideas and discuss a few things. So
people over, just let me know.
Yeah, then we'll do. Thanks a lot, man. I think that's a wrap. This is the Good Podcast with ET, and today we had our first guest, Lesedi Leshika. all the way from Limpopo. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having the next episode so we can build and just create more. So that's a wrap.